We had a team meeting, which was really a heavy one because we were like, okay, this is the moment to decide whether we want to go on or whether we need to stop.
18 teams, 11 countries, an international competition for young and creative students, building 18 houses in Wuppertal, energy efficient and social aware.
Tell me who you are from and what team are you on and what is your role on the team?
I'm Marianna Angelini and I'm an Italian student. I'm from Italy, from the north of Italy, and I moved here in Eindhoven, the Netherlands, to study, to start my bachelor. So I'm now starting my third year of bachelor in architecture, urbanism and building sciences, specifying in architecture. However, in the team, which is Team Virtue, I'm part of Team Virtue, I am the communication manager. So I take care of all the communication and also education and social awareness sectors.
Why did you come from Italy to Eindhoven?
I really wanted to go study abroad and not just go in Erasmus, but have a full life experience abroad. And I was really interested in the Netherlands because of the openness to English and the openness to internationals, and especially Eindhoven. So I found this university that was really matching my interests, and I'm really, really happy to be there. And I'm curious to even travel in more countries later on for my studies.
What is the meaning of your project name?
The team name, Team Virtue, is actually comes from the previous team that participated in Solar Decathlon 2018. Decided on this name because it was coming from a honors track, so a honors program in the university, and they decided to call it Virtue because it was related to honors and also really matching what they were standing. So that's where it's coming from. Whereas the project name of our current project, which is our house, it's Ripple, and I would have a lot to say about it, but really shortly, it's basically based on the fact that we start from the people and we base everything from the influence that people can have on each other. So we start from a really small action of each person, and that through collaboration and through social interaction can have a bigger and bigger effect, like a drop in the water.
What is your personal motivation as a student to participate in this project?
I found this project a huge learning experience to join the workforce of not only the built environment, but in generally the future work to actually make a change. It was going to be a really huge development of my professional skills. That's also why I joined communication to be a manager, first of all, and work in communications to really try to get in contact with the outside world.
Is it the first time that your university is participating in the Solar Decathlon competition? I think you said
we have one team that already participated. It's so we are now the second generation of Virtue. The first one, which started as a honors program, later on decided, okay, we're going to actually participate in the Solar Decathlon. This is a dream that might come true. And they went to the Solar Decathlon Middle East in Dubai in 2018. And they got the 6th position there. So I think for them was still a really big accomplishment for the progress that they've been doing. And they selected us as a team. So we're now happy to continue.
What do you learn from the experience?
We do have quite a lot of contact with them because, as I said, last year in May, they selected us and told us, basically we were the new starting team. We were only 16 at the time, and now we're growing a lot. And we were learning kind of everything from them at the beginning because they really gave us a good transfer and they wanted to be a bit of our guideline not to make the same mistakes as they did. Each part of the team with the person that was doing the same thing. And still now we are in contact. For example, I'm in contact with the communication team almost every 2 weeks. But at the same time, the more we learn about the project, the more we do our own thing, and we really want to make it our own project. And we learn a lot from them, from their mistakes and from also what they did well. For example, I really admire the communication people because they got the 2nd position and they really made a lot of change. So I was really inspired by them.
Now the first steps have been taken. You have an idea about your project. What is it and how did you come up with it?
let's say the thing that really prompted us since the beginning was to work with people, as I said. So to really have work on especially the social side of sustainability, even though we do want to tackle all three aspects of sustainability, so the technical, technological, economical, and social. However, for us, the social part was really important because we believe that if people don't actually accept the change and change their everyday life, no high-tech solution will ever be applied on large scale in cities. So that was the first motivation. It really stayed throughout the project. However, of course, now that we developed it more, our main point, I would say, is that we want to indeed activate people to embrace a sustainable, environmentally friendly lifestyle. And we want to create an attractive design that helps them to do this. So we are the designers that help the user to approach this lifestyle. And at the same time, we want to have an adaptive approach. What we make is adaptive over time and space. So we want to make something which is specific for Wuppertal and at the same time universal so that it can be applied all over the world. It seems a bit technical, but that's our basics. And then, of course, we in general have a less high-tech approach than you could have, let's say, which we chose for something which is less high-tech but more user-friendly, and maybe we are approaching something which really comes down to how people live in their homes, and we really want to change that and not just make a new super high-tech element that for us is not going to make the big change.
You talked about also what did you choose the specific why did you choose the specific urban situation?
Yeah, so basically we decided to work in Wuppertal as we visited right away at the beginning of the project, and that's when we made the choice. We thought that we were very close to the city. In a way, we are in the Netherlands and it's like a 2 hours drive. So the situation was very interesting for us because it's a city that has some similarities with not only the Netherlands, but other cities in Europe. At the same time, it's really unique. So we really saw all these initiatives and all this willingness for change, but at the same time, a lot of parallel projects that don't really make one city change. And we decided to choose the renovation and vertical extension because for us, it was, of course, a bit of a hard choice at the beginning, but for us, this was a situation that was specific of Wuppertal in the sense of Cafe Ada, so the specific situation we have, but at the same time, it was giving us the opportunity to really apply the project in other cities in Europe, because we believe that with urban densification, you can always go higher, let's say, whereas it's harder to extend buildings in other ways and filling gaps. And we really love the place, so we fell in love with it a bit. Yeah.
What did you have enjoyed most about the project so far?
It's a hard question because it's a lot. Learning to make decisions. I was quite an indecisive person before, and learning to make hard decisions quickly, thinking about it, but at the same time you need to move on. So I think this project really teaches to move on and make decisions and do it as a team. And I think what I actually enjoyed the most is having a team that is basically becoming a huge family, and the fact that we work and we're super professional more and more every day, and at the same time they're friends. Some of them are becoming some of my best friends, and I think this is such a life experience.
SDE 21 is the first urban edition of the Political Plan Europe. How do you think can your ideas or your project have an impact on the sustainable cities of the future?
We really try to make something feasible in the sense that we try to see what the problems are of the users, and that's why also, as I didn't really say it, but we really tried to go to Wuppertal, interview people, talk to the organizations, and try to see what the problems are there. And we try to start from the people, from the users, to actually make a change. And I think the way we're approaching it is to start from the sphere of the apartment. So these tiny apartments that we are making, because we work on a really small scale, to make people understand that it's not doing less for being sustainable, but it's doing something which is actually cool and which makes you satisfied. Also sharing this with your neighbors, because you have a lot of shared spaces, makes you more and more aware, and you make more people aware. We are going to build a prototype of this that can actually maybe even stay in the Living Lab. We will know a bit later. And either it stays in Wuppertal or in Eindhoven, people can actually see what this change can be. And even though we're not building on top of Cafe Ada directly, what we really hope is that Wuppertal will embrace ours or one of the other projects to make this happen. For me, being in the Solar Decathlon Europe I believe we can have an impact because people listen to it. People are looking at it from all over the world. And even though there's a bunch of projects coming up, I think this is a really unique one.
In the last few months, many people have only been able to work virtually,
like us, yeah.
Yeah. This is one of the reasons why the final of the SD21 was postponed in the summer of 2022. How does the coronavirus situation is in Eindhoven right now, and how does it currently influence your work?
Okay, so I think as everybody, we did have quite a hard time dealing with the situation, even though in the beginning we preferred to keep it on 2021, simply because we believed that we realized we could carry on. We could actually have our own meetings online, and it was hard at the beginning, but I think everybody realized it was either dead or fail. So we really went for it. And the problem we had was that if we would postpone it, what actually happened was that a lot of people would go away from our team. So our team was in real risk of manpower and members. However, we, together with the Solar Decathlon, managed to find a solution. And I think for us, June 2022 was a good solution eventually, because it's at the end of the year rather than at the beginning of the academic year. In general, the situation in Eindhoven never got crazy. We were quarantined. We were working from home for months, from March until June. And in June, we could finally start a meeting again. And I think that was nectar for everybody. We could actually finally work in small groups with social distancing, and it started going better, especially because we were working online, but we were getting really tired of it. The motivation gets a bit down, and we try the best. We try to make really fun activities online and to keep the team spirit up. However, for example, now I'm in a big office with almost 20 of our 36 members, and we managed through one of our partners to get office space, which is safe in terms of social distancing. And we have this 8 days in the summer to work all together, which is amazing. However, we are looking at the next year and seeing that our university is really strict. I don't know how it is for the other teams, but our university will not probably let us be as many people as we are in any space in campus. So we are looking a bit afraid at September, because it might be that we need to go back fully virtually or in small groups again, especially because we're reaching the 40 people. So space for 40 people with 1.5 meters distance is hard. So yeah, we still go strong. We're still going on. We're on schedule. And we even have the situation that we are earlier than the SDE, because we have a subsidy that we can't give up, and we need to test build before the end of summer 2021. We really have a situation in which we are very early. We'll get through it. We had a team meeting, which was really a heavy one, because we were like, okay, this is the moment to decide whether we want to go on or whether we need to stop, because we need to realistically say, okay, can we go on? Because everybody wants to go on. But it was really hard, and we managed to decide. And I think all the teams are having issues with the partners that are a bit slower and in difficulties. Our planning changed so that we can have a bit of a better design, and some decision can actually be revised, because before it was going way too fast. However, as I said, we basically will have a lot of time after we test build, so to optimize and test, which is nice, but that also means that the design phase is really rushed until then. We'll make the best. Hopefully we still can get a very good result.
Do you think that COVID-19 can lead to a harder view of opposing and building? And when you think of flexibility, community learning?
It's a hard question, because I think a lot has been said about it, and still is being said. And I think everybody during Corona was extremely sad to see what's happening in the world, and still it's happening, because in our country it's a bit better, but all over the world is getting worse. However, everybody was seeing how nature was really recovering, and how also the way we were living was maybe getting a bit more aware, even though coronavirus really made companies use so much more plastic and actually go back from the progress. So if I have a lot of things in my head, and I personally think that after this, if this ever gives us a little bit of a break, we'll definitely would change the way we're living, not necessarily sustainably. I have to admit, because I think unfortunately some things might go back. For example, the use of resources might go a bit back because of the production and the safety and the disinfectant and everything. On the other hand, first of all, I do believe that nature has been recovering and everybody saw it. So I think in terms of climate change, everybody saw how our impact is huge. That's something that people might remember. And at the same time, I have the feeling that cities will change because everything needs to be distanced. So also urban densification will be an extra challenge because you can't fit so many people in spaces. I do believe that until we get a vaccine, and maybe even later, this situation won't really change. I also think that people will change the way they approach other people. I went back to Italy, to my home country this summer, and I saw how my city, which was Bergamo and was one of the most attacked cities, was traumatized completely. Everybody, like, people cannot hug people, just even though they can, they really feel traumatized. And I do think the sense of community will change in a good and bad way. I think in a bad way because you will have less contact. In a good way because people will value it more, I think, and you will try to get in contact more even though you're far away or you can't touch each other and this kind of things. But in terms of living, if that was the main question, it's hard because I think the public buildings will have a lot of issues and a lot of control measures. Houses will relatively be maybe cleaner because people will definitely try to keep their home space the safe one, and maybe less of a point of gathering, especially for young people. It will be maybe a bit of less of a party space. If I think of our project, coronavirus does not help because we focus so much on shared space, and they're not big spaces, they're more like a lot of shared spaces, and this doesn't work with social distancing. So I hope that's not going to be an issue later on. I think outside space will be valued much more and nature will be valued much more. So I hope that this means that people will focus and municipalities will focus on parks more and on green space more, which is super important.
Have you ever been to Wuppertal, or how did you?
Yeah. Yeah.
We're here, but
yeah.
I don't know if you were in person or your team.
Basically, we decided to go right away in September when we started the project, September 2019. So exactly a year ago, we decided, okay, we're starting, and to start, we also have as a team activity for the first bonding. We went to Wuppertal and we visited. We were so lucky that two guys from the Solar Decathlon Europe 21, two collaborators, gave us a tour, and we got to know the main person from Utopiastat. So we really got to get in the vibe of the campus and the Utopiastat and understand how it all started, as well as having a tour of all the locations so that we could choose one. And actually it was funny because we had the first real team meeting in Utopiastat. And after that, I didn't go personally, but a part of the team, so the designers, let's say architects, structural designers, building physics people, went to Wuppertal in February, and they went to really more look at the building. So Cafe Ada, they looked at the ventilation, lighting, and all these kind of things. They really tried to analyze the building from the side. They got to see the cafe that was getting built from the Solar Decathlon. So I think that was also really important to get to see what Wuppertal is like. And they also handed out a survey to the inhabitants of Wuppertal. So they made the inhabitants participate. We'll go again soon, whenever we can do it safely. Yeah, we'll do it again. I was a bit sad that we couldn't go for the workshop. I think it's a big loss not to see the other teams before whatever time. So yeah.
But maybe we can do a workshop this year.
Yeah, I would love to. I think it would be really, really rich for us enriching to meet other people. Yeah. They're from all over the world, so I'm super curious.
Thank you for the interview.
Thank you.